Love after marriage is something that we have to invest in. For example, I used to always think that a great marriage, it would just happen.
Okay.
Yes, that was, I honestly thought that. So when we got married and we hit a brick wall, I thought, this is not what I was expecting.
So you have ever hit a brick wall?
Oh yes, we had a lot of brick walls. Oh yes. Because my husband was saying, I'm lonely, I'm lonely, I'm lonely. I was getting frustrated, but I'm doing my best, I'm doing my best, I'm doing my best. We then learned about the love languages.
Oh.
Yes.
Love language.
5 love languages.
Wow. That's not
yes.
like English, that's another language.
I'm telling you.
So you don't need to go to a fancy restaurant. You don't need to go to the beach side. It's just that you create a time and that works for you.
It doesn't have to cost you, but just working together, sharing what we have. What we have is our emotion.
That's right.
Just simple.
That's right. Yes, it might seem like chore, every week planning the date night, but because your marriage is important to you, important to us, it's almost imperative that we must make time for that date night. Where no children, put your phones away, but just there's a song, just the two of us, we can make it if we try. Yes.
As you're compatible, you guys just get married. They're arranged marriages in the beginning. That the two of you just get married and then you'll grow in love. Because now we're talking about where did love go after marriage, which means it was there.
Yes.
So does that mean that the arranged marriages really didn't work? It was just that was it during their time.
No, but interesting, they actually did a study about arranged marriages.
Okay.
And apparently, I don't know that, but I think they actually said that most arranged marriages actually work. It's been proven over the years to actually work more than those who just randomly meet. But I do agree also, there's also, of course, it's not a one-size-fits-all response, because there are also instances where families are in marriages and there's no compatibility. There's no connection. And even though the couples are working at it, there are times when they find love in their marriage. There's also been instances where the love has never been connected, never been connected. So I think it might be, I always say that, never throw in the towel at the first appearance of contention or emptiness in the marriage. Always, if you're determined, always try to work at it and work at it. Now, if even after working at it, you don't feel the connection or you don't feel the love, absolutely get help. Get help, because the fact that it's not connecting now doesn't mean it won't connect later. But sadly, there are instances where the connection will never be there. That's the truth. Now, but I'm aware of the school of thought as Christians that work at it. If it doesn't work, pray about it. If it's still not working, get an external person, ideally a Christian counselor, who can look at it objectively and give their view. Yeah, so yes, most times it works, but sadly sometimes it just doesn't work. Now I'm speaking about arranged marriages, that is. Yes.
But every marriage where love was there in the beginning. So that love is still there, only it's covered by something.
Exactly.
So you can again dig that love.
Definitely.
Because most of the people that will bring cases of divorce or separation, they were in love at first. So we can still go back and get that love back, irrespective of what has happened. Can you talk about forgiveness in marriage?
I said, you want to take that?
In fact, I was just, it was a tip of my tongue, because you find that when there, obviously, like we're talking about a situation where there was love, a lot of times imagine if two people are together, they're in love, then all of a sudden they hit a wall, something happens that really hurts them. And then a wall starts to build up. They don't talk about it, they don't resolve it. They're not very good at communicating, they have different communication styles, and then the wall starts to just build up and they start to, take jabs at each other. Imagine the wall just getting higher and higher. Family members come in with their own opinions. The wall gets higher and higher. And you have this husband and wife that were so in love. All of a sudden, there's this huge wall of separation between them because of unforgiveness. And so unforgiveness is something that is so important in every marriage, and it's so important, like the Bible actually says that don't let the sun go down on your anger. Resolve that issue, because it so easily can continue to just grow and become something that really deeply affects the marriage. So forgiveness is so important. And we all know that it's very hard to forgive. That's just a fact, because we're all humans. But having the right skills, because it's also for us on the marriage, because it's about learning the right skills to, one, identify the issue, two, be empathetic with your husband or wife. Because like my husband said, something he said this morning where we were talking to the couples, you see, when something is hurting me, it's my pain, it's my issue. He would never understand how I feel, and vice versa. We've learned that so I have to come to his world and work with him, not stand there and say, oh, I forgive, I'm sorry about that thing. I'm still not, I have to come alongside him and say, actually, feel your pain. I'm sorry, actually. There's a difference when you show empathy and you really care about a friend. So forgiveness is really about looking at issues from the person that is hurting, from their perspective, and actually identifying it, being humble to say, I'm sorry, I've hurt you, I'm sorry about it. And also the other person receiving that forgiveness as well, receiving that apology and accepting, and then working out a solution to that particular issue. How, because these issues will come up again. So how do you resolve it next time? How do you work through? So forgiveness is such an amazing thing, because it's so important in every marriage, and it's something that we do every day.
How do you handle the issue of infidelity in marriage? This guy or this girl has been caught with another person. How do you should we just divorce, or how do you handle that?
It's a tough one, but it's not an impossible one to resolve, because and I think it also comes into this whole idea of being resolute about the marriage. When I got married, one thing that I think helps me a lot, apart from the fact that I'm a Christian, is I've always been very, very resolute about my marriage. That come rain, high, no matter what happens, I'm in this marriage for keeps. That's always been my mindset. Now, there's been instances where we've been approached. Thankfully, it hasn't happened to us, but it happened to a few friends that we know, who either of their spouses have been involved in infidelity. And to be fair, it's, I guess, for those who it's happened to, the pain and almost betrayal of trust or breach of trust is unimaginable. But at the same time, I believe that with the right support, with the right people coming alongside them, it shouldn't be a deal breaker. It shouldn't be a root cause for divorce. Now, like Issy also said, and it's quite relevant in the cases of infidelity, whereby a woman says that, you've deeply hurt me, you've defiled our marriage bed. Now the person who's played out should now be the person who should sincerely say, I'm sorry. I can only imagine the pain I've caused you. But what I also find that in our society, in certain societies, it's almost expected that a man would play around or fool around. And of course, and I think it's unfair on a woman, because a woman who, God help her, is in infidelity is almost condemned, doomed, and crucified. Now, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying it seems like there are double standards when they are applying the same approach to a man or female. Now, to a female, you don't even give her a chance. I'm not condoning this, but a lot of women, by nature, don't fool around. A man has a propensity to fool around more than a woman does. Now, so when a woman does it, the same grace is shown to a man is what is shown to a woman. Now, we don't look at the backstory. A man is married to a woman. She can't remember the last time he told her he loved her. The woman wakes up very early in the morning, takes care of the child, The only time he touches her is when he wants to have sex with her. Doesn't text, ring her to check on her. Never holds her hand. They're both driving the car. He's looking at other women and his wife is in front of the seat. So to be fair, I'm not condoning it, but you kill the woman emotionally before she fools around. But women by nature don't fool around. Now, I'm not condoning women who do it, but there's usually a backstory to it.
Even for the man, there's also a backstory.
Exactly, for the man as well. But my view is that men have a natural, I'm not condoning it at all, but men, because we know women are feelers, men are very visual. So if men generally don't practice self-discipline and really get their strength from God, men have a propensity to do that because we go by what we see. We're very visual. Whilst a woman by nature is a feeler. You know, it will take a lot for her to say, I want to leave my marriage. It takes a lot. But I guess, yes, the same rule applies on both sides. You know that. But regardless of what's happened, you know, God is a forgiving God. You know, that as long as the person who's fooled around, you know, who's betrayed the trust, is willing to change, I don't think it's a deal breaker at all, in my view.
In the morning when you spoke to us, I could see some of us, and we were elders there, really connecting what you're saying. You say that men are like the what? Microwave. And women are like the cooker.
Yes.
Maybe that's in parables. Yes. Now, can you open the parable?
All right, can I? Okay, so men, think about it I mean, on the marriage course, one of the topics we address is good sex in marriage. Yes. And we always say that sex is only good in marriage if both parties, the man and woman, are deriving equal pleasure from it. Men generally, it doesn't take much for us, Alex, as men, to get warmed up for sex, because that's the way we're wired. Our body's like we want to die when we want to have sex. That's the way men are. So we're like microwaves, you know. You put it in, bing, bing, we're up. You know, sometimes my wife might just want to touch me to say, how are you, darling? She just genuinely saying, how are you? Are you ready? You know, so because the battery ever ready, we're ever ready. You know, so that's the microwave part of a man.
Yes.
Whilst for a woman, you know, I've not checked on my wife all day. I couldn't have maybe see her dress up and leave the house and I don't say you're beautiful, baby. You know, or I love the way you look. I love, you know, you couldn't have gone all day without complimenting her. You know, and then at night you say, turn over. Let's do it. Because she's like a cooker. You need to tell her you love her in the morning.
So it's like the sexual part of life starts like in the morning.
Exactly.
It's not an evening thing.
No, it's not.
Or that moment thing.
Yes.
It's something that
there's a build up.
Yes,
to it.
So you tell her that, the food was okay.
Yes.
You're dressed well.
Yes.
You look lovely.
Yes.
So you send a text at 1
yes.
lunchtime. I miss you.
Yes.
At 4 p.m. How has been your day? Thank you for taking care of the children.
Yes.
So that's how they.
That's the build up.
They build up.
Yes.
Yeah, that was very informative.
You know.
Because some other guys would go the other way.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Let me ask, on behalf of everyone, since we insist, for the last part you talked about, for a married couple. So there's a couple, I was listening to their case, and the lady was talking about, you know, the man, he's always saying the lady's never interested. But then the lady says, you're too absent in the house. So you're there physically, and you say nice things, but I feel like you really don't care about the kids and I. And then the man asks, what do you mean? I'm always in the house, I'm always here, we're eating supper together. What would be the difference there? Because you said, keep in touch, call in the morning, know how the kids are doing, know how you're doing. Make sure she thinks you care. But what I'm getting from that conversation and from what you say is that women are emotional beings. So what can men do better just to make sure that the ladies feel more involved in the marriage and more loved in the marriage?
No, to be honest with you, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head, because it's also mainly, and Patricia made a very good point. You know, all those texting, showing the woman you care wouldn't matter if there's no emotional connection. Patricia's emphasis was on emotional connection. So I think a woman can know if you're pretending to connect with her. A woman can know if you just put on that you're with her, but you're not really present. So it actually starts all the extra thing, or checking on them, telling her you love her. A woman can tell if you're really connecting them emotionally. If you're not, all those things are empty.
She's supposed to be genuine.
It's genuine. You have to be genuine because you care.
Genuine caring for you.
Yes, you know. So I think that's why I feel that Patricia's point was actually, in my view, was central to this conversation. Because if there's no emotional connection, the marriage will be an empty marriage. Yes. There has to be an emotional connection. That is actually what undergirds a relationship. In the case you gave, a man could be sending text messages. A man could be saying, you look good, but doesn't really help her with the needs she has. Doesn't really, I mean, I remember a time when when my wife was pregnant with my second daughter. And we went to a fashion show. So we're putting up in the car park because my friends invited me to the fashion show. There were some of the ones who put up this big fashion show, you know. Yes. And my wife was heavily pregnant, beautiful, but she was very, very pregnant. I remember that while we were packing some of my friends, some of the ladies, young ladies, oh, Connie, how are you? They come to say hello to me. So when we go into the fashion, I noticed that my wife was looking at very cold. So I hold her hand, she moved her hand. You know, and I went to get some drinks for both of us. So when I got back, you know, I went to get some drinks. So I took longer than usual because I saw quite of my friends. So when I got back, I tried to be friendly with her, and she burst into tears. I said, what's the matter here? She said, well, that she felt that I took longer with all the models. Well, mine was just innocent. I was just talking to them, you know. And at that point in time, even though what she felt wasn't real, but because she was pregnant, she was feeling unbeautiful. You understand? She didn't feel that she was as hot. So it was my responsibility as a husband to reassure her.
She's too beautiful.
You know, to affirm that you might be pregnant, but you still look sexy with the pregnancy. Do you understand? So it's not just words, it's connecting emotionally. You know, reassuring and giving her, instilling confidence that whatever you feel, yes, I might not see it from your point of view, but I connect with what you're saying because you're important to me.
I also feel like women, we are very discerning people. I can tell when he's annoyed even when he has not said. I can tell he's happy even when he has not said. We really discern what is inside somebody. If it's him, I can tell when he's happy and exactly happy, or he's just making the face. I can always tell. It's women are very discerning. We really discern. Like when things are long, I can tell they're long. But men don't know how to do that. So if I'm interested that I want to make him happy, I know where to touch him. I know what language to tell him. So if you don't know that, no woman will not tell. You can tell when your husband is not okay. You can tell when he has been annoyed at the workplace. You always tell from the face. So that's why she would feel like you are not really interested in her. When you went away and took time with other people, when she feels so tired, so lonely, she feels like nobody cares about her feelings. So the only person who would feel what I feel when I'm tired of pregnancy, he's the only person who can understand. So if we go for many hours, then I feel I'm left out. So I think for us women, we are so much we are discerning elements. We can always tell what you think, how you feel before even you speak it.
That's right.
So most of the time, the discerning does so much to us, even when you can't speak. When you can't explain yourself, I know you're not happy by the look. I know you're not happy by the way you take things. Sometimes men think we need money. No. He would pump so much money into me. I don't need money. I need him. He would, because money is not the thing that I wanted in him. I had money at home. I was well fed at home. So what I need from him, it's just him. So our discerning discerns everything. So I think that is one of the things that make us, you don't understand us. But we always know when you're happy from the Lord, when you're not happy from the Lord, when you are comfortable, we can tell. I can tell when he wants tea. He doesn't have to tell me what tea. I can tell when he wants food. You can tell
All food.
or anything, all foods, anything. I can tell by my discerning.
Yeah. And I think the reason why women, they're called to be people who can discern, because when they got married, they came ready to the marriage.
Yeah.
They came fully.
Certainly.
Because when you're so emotionally connected to a person, there's a way you synchronize that person. You can even feel what they feel, even when they're far away. And sometimes, again, maybe men, we also get connected to workplace, connected to other things. So we may not really feel what the wife is feeling. So we try to guess. But I think women, that's what they feel about children. Because when they gave birth to children, they really connected. They really connected. And we appreciate God for them. So we need to learn how to connect well. Yes. But she also said something about money. Because we used to find some, maybe like young couples, they think money is what they need. Even talk to young people on the street, even unmarried people. They would really think that money is the missing thing in life.
Right.
And they say, when we get money, we will be happy.
Fine.
But
That's
there's
what
something they don't know. That people, so many people with money, and they're looking for something else. There are so many problems that money will never solve.
That's all.
You know, I heard of this lady who was always telling the husband, she needs a good life, and she was very like pushy. And the husband got some money someday, came and bought a fridge, bought everything they wanted, some money in the bank, and he started now moving away from home. And then the lady discovered, I think I'm still hungry for something. The fridge has not solved the problem. There's a good thing. Money in the account has not solved the problem. So we need to also to keep on training people that money is not the issue. The issue is what we are talking about.
That's right.
I need my husband, I need my wife, and we need to connect in every area of our lives. That's where real happiness comes.
Indeed.
That's why you go to these poor people home. You go to the slum areas, and they don't even have food.
Yes,
And they're having a bottle, just some water. They just have warm water for dinner. And they are laughing. You know, you used to go to the slum areas, and before you get to that whole house, even in the night, you feel like they are even laughing, like full people. They are laughing, they have stories. You go to these well-up homes, everything is quiet. People went to sleep early. Cars are parked outside, money is in the bank. So we need also to have a balance. But what the real family is made up of people.
Cool.
Money can buy you a house, money cannot buy your home.
Indeed.
Money can buy your bed, money will never give you a sleep.
Correct.
And we need to look at the little things that
Certainly.
can build us.
Indeed.
I just ask a question.
Yes.
We have talked about children, and it is said most of the time that they are part or source of major love deviation. Like somebody gives the love to the children and they forget the spouse.
The wife gives. That's one of the accusations from when they got.
I agree.
Babies.
The firstborn came. He or she is the husband now. I'm a stranger in this home.
Alex, I'll give you a true life story about us. So when we got married, and we had our first daughter, she's 19 now, my mother-in-law came to stay with us. You know, at the time I was working, and you know, when I come back from work, because my wife was on maternity leave, my mother-in-law was there. So I'll come back from work, and my wife won't even notice that when I've come in, open the door, I've gone upstairs, because mother and the kid and her together, and the focus for my mother-in-law was on the baby and my wife. So she would tend to the baby and tend to her, you know. And the truth was, I was beginning to feel very lonely in the marriage, because I felt like a stranger in my own house, you know. And of course, I understand the fact that my mother-in-law is there to help her with the baby. I understand the fact that, of course, she was healing from the pregnancy. I understand all that. But first day, second day, third day. So there was a time when I called and I said that, you know, I appreciate the fact that your mom is here, but I really begin to feel like, I begin to almost, I don't want to resent my baby, but almost I feel like that maybe if, when the baby wasn't here, it was both of us. So I had a chat with her, and she felt what I felt. And I think, so when I came out from work, actually, when I got, she'd come upstairs with me, we'll talk for a while. And then we developed a routine whereby when we sat and eat our routine, we'll go and walk in the park together. So this is the example where you're right, a child could easily come into the marriage and almost like disrupt your norm. Kids are wonderful, kids are great, but we've also got to make sure we get our priorities right. God, ourselves, and our children. That's the way we've defined it. We love our children immensely, but the children, Alex, they will marry and leave the nest.
Sure.
But you've still got you and your spouse. So it's very important. It's a very good point you made.
Yeah,
a lot of kids sometimes, they're well-meaning, and then the truth also be told, I find that mothers generally by nature are the ones who misplace their priorities because they come from the mother. So there's a connection, a mother as with a child and a child the mother. That even though we as fathers love our children, there's something about the mother. Even when the son is 40, the mother still looks at him admiring like a baby. So it's something about just a woman. But women need to also know when to disconnect. Because if you're not very careful, you can lose your husband in the process.
I think when I get married, or when we get married, I assume the office of husband and wife, and I'm supposed to maintain that office all in the course of our lifetime. Doesn't matter whether I become a father, I should always be a husband.
Certainly.
So even if I become a mother, I should always be a wife first.
Indeed.
So it's a matter of balance.
Correct.
The office of wife,
certainly,
mother.
That's right.
The husband, father.
Correct.
Because sometimes the offices of a father would come and try to take over
Definitely.
the office of the husband. But my first call in this marriage is husband.
Correct.
My wife's call is wife.
Indeed.
So that one is constant.
Certainly.
So father is supposed to come under that.
Certainly.
Mother is supposed to come under
Certainly.
that. Given like a minute, what would you tell this couple that they feel like love is gone? We just like on the verge of divorce or separation. What do you tell them to do? Like, what's the practical thing for them to do?
First of all, I would just say that take stock of where you are. And then I always say that if you're both willing to readdress where love has gone, it always work. But you've both got to be intentional about it. So we're not quite feeling love, I don't feel loved anymore. And you discuss it, and ideally, if you're supposed to be on the same page, and you're both willing to, there's nothing beyond redeeming. Nothing beyond redeeming.
And you've said that conflicts and also love going out can be just maybe a normal thing in the first year of marriage. So because maybe this person will still think that the devil has come in the house. This is unredeemable. What do you tell them?
When we got married, really quickly, a mature couple told us, and I'll never forget that, they said the first few years of marriage sometimes can feel like two rough stones, like this. Yes. And I think that was so well put, because for us, it was now, and when that happens, is that what you don't realize is that it gets better. You start getting smoother. Two rough stones coming together and start becoming, you're working together. So it's important to just realize that it's there, but it's just a process of working through it together. You work through things together.
So we need to allow the process to go on.
Yes.
Good. Patricia, would you tell this marriage couple that they feel like they're giving up, and would ask you, why are you not giving up yourself? You look okay, your friends look okay.
The secret is learning to live with one another, simply by enjoying a lot of time doing things together, that we have said from the beginning, that we create time for one another. We share the little things that we have, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You can do little things. Walking costs you nothing.
That's right.
Just creating time for one another, enjoying one another emotionally, even if you sit and look at one another.
That's right.
It's
I like that.
Yeah, we create time for one another, and that is the best, especially when you are emotionally very close, you just feel one another when you just sit together.
Right.
You learn from one another simply by doing nothing.
That's right.
But having time for one another.
That's right.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, is like we need to reintroduce marriage to married couples. What marriage is all about.
Yes.
Remove all these distractions and go back to the first love.
Yes.
Go back to square one.
That's right.
How we used to look at each other,
Yeah.
walk with each other,
Correct.
talk with each other.
That's right.
No, we were not talking, when we were dating, we were not talking about job, we were never talking about children.
That's
We were
right.
just talking about you and me.
That's right.
You feel.
Perfect.
So we need to return there
Indeed.
and maintain that one.
That's right.
If we do that one, we'll solve a lot of marriage conflicts.
Definitely.
So our viewers, that has been our show for tonight. We'll meet again next week and we'll keep on building on this. But we just want to assure you that your marriage works and your marriage will work. Work on it. God has given us the resources.
That's right.
And we pray that God is going to strengthen you one more time. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.